Welcome back to The Explainer, where we dig right into the source material. And today, we're tackling a big one, a world that feels like it's in constant flux, where the old rules just don't seem to apply anymore.
All right, so let's dive in. Here's the big question our source material is really wrestling with. Is the global system we've all known for decades actually breaking down? Or is it just being remade, reshaped by new powers, new rivalries, and totally new ideas? We're going to take a look at a snapshot of 2026 to see exactly how this is all playing out.
So, we're going to break this story down into four key pieces. First, we'll look at the massive economic shocks that are shaking up global trade. Then we'll see how a major power is trying to build a whole new system from the ground up. After that, we'll zoom right into a critical regional conflict to see the impact on the ground. And finally, we'll pull back out to see how all of this is fueling a new and pretty scary global arms race.
Okay, first up, the economy. Our sources are really pointing to this huge shift in U.S. trade policy as a kind of ground zero for a lot of the instability we're seeing across the board. And this cartoon from the source, it just perfectly captures that shift, doesn't it? It shows this huge move away from the free trade ideas that have pretty much run the show for decades. The article actually calls it an ongoing slaughter on the global economy. So yeah, that's a pretty dramatic break with the past.
And here's the thinking behind it, pulled straight from the source. This quote really gets to the heart of the ideology driving these policies. It's this view that international trade isn't about everyone winning, but that it's a zero-sum game, and that the U.S. has been on the losing end.
Okay, so just look at the scale of this. The map on the left from our source shows this isn't just some small targeted thing, we're talking about a global strategy here. And then you glance over at the table on the right and you see the actual numbers. I mean, tariffs hitting as high as 62% for China and 39% for the European Union. These are not small changes.
So what does all this actually mean in the real world? Well, we're talking about an average tariff on goods from China jumping to almost 50%, plus big tariffs on allies all over the world. And the source is clear. This isn't just some number in a spreadsheet. This is what messes up supply chains, makes things more expensive for all of us, and just completely rewrites the rules of how countries do business with each other.
So all this economic chaos, it doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? When one major power starts changing the rules, it creates an opening. And that brings us perfectly to our next section, China's vision for a completely different kind of global system.
So what our source material shows us are two competing blueprints for how the world should run. On one side, you've got the system we're all familiar with, the US-led order, built around Western institutions and values. But on the other side, China is pitching what the article calls a parallel world order. And this one's all about having multiple centers of power and really emphasizing national sovereignty, the principle of non-interference.
And this image here, it's a perfect illustration of how these different visions are actually starting to take shape. You see these alternative groups like BRICS popping up, and China is really pushing them as a counterbalance to those Western-led institutions like the G20. It's like they're building a whole new ecosystem, a whole separate track.
And listen, this isn't just talk. China is actively building the plumbing for this new system. I mean, look at this. They're pushing a digital currency to get around the US dollar, building their own version of SWIFT. That's the network that basically runs global finance. And they're even setting up new courts to handle international disputes. This is a very systematic, very deliberate long-term game.
And no surprise here, all this economic and diplomatic maneuvering is backed up by some serious hard power. This infographic from our source makes it super clear. China's military modernization is a huge piece of this puzzle, making sure they have the muscle to back up their global plans. And that sets the stage perfectly for our next section.
Okay, so let's zoom in a bit. How does all this high-level, great power competition actually feel on the ground? Well, our source material gives us a case study, a really high-stakes attempt to bring peace to one of the world's most difficult and long-running conflicts.
So the source dives into this proposed 20-point peace plan for Gaza, and it is incredibly ambitious. I mean, it covers everything from an immediate ceasefire and a huge prisoner swap to setting up a whole new temporary government and a massive economic plan to rebuild. The ultimate goal? To pave a way towards Palestinian statehood.
And a really key part of that plan is laid out right here on this map. It shows a phased withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. But look at the fine print here. The crucial detail is the creation of a security buffer zone. And that zone would stay under Israeli military control even after the main withdrawal is done.
But, and this is a big but, here's where it hits a wall. The source says the plan is basically stuck. Why? Well, as you can see here, the key regional powers are hitting the brakes. They're essentially saying, look, We're not sending our people in to manage a temporary fix. We need to see a real, concrete path to a two-state solution first.
And just to really drive home why finding a solution is so urgent, the source presents this data. This infographic lays out the absolutely devastating human cost of the conflict. It's a stark reminder of the immense civilian impact and just how high the stakes are in these diplomatic talks.
So, let's pull the camera back out one last time, because when you have fierce economic competition, when new world orders are being hammered out, and when these regional conflicts are just left to simmer, one of the inevitable results is a global rush to arm up.
You know, the source includes this quote from President Eisenhower that just perfectly frames the problem. It reminds you that the cost isn't just in dollars. It's in all the other things we could be doing for people instead.
And the numbers we're seeing today are just staggering. The source is projecting that global military spending is going to hit $2.7 trillion. And this isn't some one-off thing. It's the 10th year in a row that it's gone up, a 9.5% jump since 1990 when you account for inflation.
And as this chart makes clear, this is happening everywhere. Our source shows huge spending increases all over the world. But look at Europe. That number is just shocking. An 83% jump in a single decade. That really tells you where tensions have been flaring up.
And all that spending, it translates directly into power. You look at the global rankings here and you see the United States, Russia, and China sitting right at the top. It's a perfect reflection of that great power competition we've been talking about, the one that's defining this whole new era.
This whole escalation thing creates this really dangerous classic trap. Experts call it the security dilemma. Think about it. Country A builds up its military to feel safer. But that just makes its neighbor, Country B, feel less safe. So what does Country B do? It builds up its military, and it just keeps going. In the end, everybody has way more weapons, but nobody actually feels any more secure.
So it all comes down to this one final, really unsettling question. In a world that feels more and more threatening, are we actually buying ourselves more security with all this spending? Or, as that security dilemma suggests, are we just fueling the insecurity and maybe even paving the way for the next big conflict?